Star Trek. Voyager Season 2's 10 best episodes are when Captain Janeway's show gets weird and fun. Star Trek. Voyager is remembered for many things. Captain Janeway's steely resolve, the impossible mission home, and a willingness to get downright strange when the moment called for it. Nowhere is that spirit more alive than in Season 2. While the show was still finding its feet in Season 1, its second year swung for the fences, giving us episodes that were bold, playful, eerie, and sometimes flat-out bizarre. And you know what? That's exactly when Voyager shines the brightest. When the writers let the Delta Quadrant run wild. When they allowed Janeway to embrace her inner mad scientist. When aliens got experimental. When time and space folded in on themselves. Voyager delivered some of its most entertaining adventures. Season 2 is full of strange tech, twisted logic, holodeck oddities, and brilliant character-focused weirdness. These are the 10 episodes that prove it. Voyager is never better than when it gets weird and fun. 10. The 37S. The one where Voyager finds Amelia Earhart. Nothing screams Star Trek weirdness like stumbling upon a warehouse full of 20th century humans perfectly preserved on the other side of the galaxy. And not just random humans, Amelia Earhart herself. The 37S leans into the pulpy charm of its premise, letting Janeway marvel at history while the crew gets swept up in the mystery of how these icons ended up in the Delta Quadrant. It's bonkers, but in that irresistible sci-fi serial way. The episode sets the tone for Voyager's willingness to be bold with its concepts, all while giving Janeway a moral dilemma that shows exactly who she is as a leader. Sure, the planet's population basically worships old Earth trucks, but that's half the fun. 9. Meld. Tuvok mind melds with a murderer. Most of Voyager's strangest moments come from alien anomalies, time distortions, or tech malfunctions. Meld, on the other hand, gets weird by going inward. What happens when the most disciplined Vulcan on the ship mind melds with a violent sociopath? Absolutely nothing good. Brad Dourif's lawn suitor is one of Voyager's most unsettling guest characters. And watching Tuvok try to suppress Suitor's homicidal impulses inside his own head feels like a psychological horror movie in space. It's eerie, unexpected, and one of the earliest times Voyager showed it wasn't afraid to get dark in deeply unconventional ways. 8. Deadlock. 2 Voyagers. Double the trouble. If you've ever wanted a pure dose of chaotic Star Trek energy, Deadlock delivers it like a warp core explosion. This is an episode where Voyager gets duplicated. Harry Kim dies, baby Naomi dies and is replaced. Janeway negotiates with herself, and the whole ship is falling apart every 2 minutes. It is glorious sci-fi madness. Deadlock is Voyager at its best. Fast-paced, clever, intense, and not afraid to juggle multiple versions of the same characters. It's weird, it's wild, and yet it still finds emotional beats, especially in Harry's quiet existential crisis at the end. 7. Twisted. The ship literally folds in on itself. No Delta Quadrant anomaly says fun and weird quite like one that turns Voyager into an Escher painting. Twisted traps the crew in a looping, warping labyrinth where rooms repeat, hallways lead nowhere, and the ship's layout reshapes itself as if it's alive. What makes it great is how calmly Janeway reacts. When confronted with an incomprehensible spatial distortion engulfing the ship, she basically shrugs and says, "Let's see what it wants." It's such a profoundly Janeway response, equal parts science, intuition, and stubborn confidence. The episode ends not with a tactical victory, but with acceptance. And it works. Twisted proves Voyager doesn't need big villains to deliver big entertainment. 6. Parturition, Tom, Neelix, and the baby lizard monster. You have to admire the sheer audacity of an episode that says, "Let's resolve the Tom/Neelix jealousy feud by stranding them on a toxic planet with a slimy alien infant." Parturition isn't high art, but it's wonderfully strange, and it leans completely into its buddy comedy meets creature feature energy. Watching Tom and Neelix awkwardly bond while caring for a helpless lizard baby is weirdly heartwarming. It's also very Voyager, using sci-fi weirdness to deepen character relationships. And let's be honest, any episode where Neelix panics about feeding duties while Tom tries to be the responsible space dad is absolutely peak Season 2 fun. 5. Cold Fire. Kaz unleashes her powers. Kaz is at her absolute weirdest in Cold Fire, and it's fantastic. When Voyager encounters the female caretaker in a colony of powerful Ocampa, Kes suddenly becomes a psychic powerhouse, boiling water with her mind, setting people on fire, and nearly tearing the ship apart. It's eerie, mystical sci-fi that feels different from anything else in Season 2. The episode pushes Kes into dangerous emotional territory while expanding the mythos of the caretaker. It's not just weird for weirdness' sake. It makes Kes more fascinating, more unpredictable, and more central to Voyager's spiritual tone. 4. Life Signs. The Doctor falls for a holographic Vidian. Life Signs is one of the sweetest episodes of the season, but make no mistake, it's built on a weird and wonderful sci-fi concept. The idea of giving a Vidian woman, ravaged by the phage, a temporary holographic body so she can experience health and happiness is vintage Trek ingenuity. It also makes for a unique romantic episode that only Voyager could pull off. The Doctor discovering love through a relationship with a woman who exists in two forms is delightfully strange and unexpectedly moving. It's weird, yes, but also tender in a way that stays with you. 3. Death Wish. The Q Prison Break episode. You know Voyager is having fun when Q shows up. But Death Wish doesn't just bring back Q. It introduces a suicidal Q who wants asylum on Voyager. Suddenly, Janeway is presiding over the most bizarre courtroom drama in Star Trek history, complete with cameo appearances from Isaac Newton, Riker, and a Civil War battlefield. It's wild, hilarious, philosophical, and completely unpredictable. And it all culminates in Janeway making a ruling that shakes the Q continuum. Only Voyager could give us an episode where the fate of omnipotent beings hinges on Janeway's understanding of compassion. 2. 2's. The most infamous Voyager episode ever. Few Star Trek episodes are as famously weird, or as endlessly debated, as 2's. Two characters merge into one thanks to a transporter accident. The resulting being has the memories, instincts, and personalities of both Tuvok and Neelix, yet is neither. He's his own person, and he wants to live. The moral debate is genuine. The emotional tension is real. But the premise? Absolutely bizarre in the best Trek tradition. 2's is unforgettable because of its weirdness, not in spite of it. Janeway's final decision remains one of the most divisive choices of her career, and it all stems from this single, old, unsettling sci-fi idea. 1. Threshold. The peak of Voyager weirdness. Let's just say it. Threshold is insane. Paris breaks the transwarp barrier. Then he evolves into a salamander. Then he kidnaps Janeway. Then they have lizard babies. Then they're rescued and everything is fine on Monday. Is it good? Depends on who you ask. Is it iconic? Absolutely. Is it peak Voyager weirdness? Without question. Threshold represents the moment when Voyager wasn't afraid, at all, to get experimental. It's the kind of episode you watch with your jaw hanging open. And even though the science is dubious and the transformations are bonkers, it's impossible not to admire the sheer commitment. Season 2 doesn't just embrace weirdness, it charges it at full warp. Voyager is strongest when it lets the Delta Quadrant get strange. These 10 episodes aren't just fan favorites. They're the perfect example of why Voyager thrives when the show goes off the beaten path. The Delta Quadrant is unknown, unpredictable, and endlessly bizarre, and Season 2 leans into that identity with enthusiasm. Captain Janeway's crew doesn't just survive the strange. They grow through it. They bond through it. They become a family because of it. Season 2's best moments aren't the battles or the technobabble. Even though Voyager has plenty of both, it's the bold risks, the weird premises, and the creative energy that make this season unforgettable. When the show gets weird, it